We have a fun Domain Sherpa panel today. First of all, for everyone who's listening and not watching, you do totally have to take a moment to check out the haircuts happening on this show. Other than that, we hear about a domain that the last time Joshua Reason was on the show, he talked about buying the domain. Already, about 3 months later, he's talking about selling the domain. The guys get into the end user market on 3letter.coms. We talk about the influx of new investors and market adjustments. Josh Reason has bids on every single name on the NameJet list, so lots to discuss. Enjoy the show. Hey, Sherpa Network. I'm Tess Diaz, executive producer of DomainSherpa.com, and today we're doing a Domain Sherpa review. What's happening? Josh and Drew. So good to see you guys. Love the haircuts, or lack therein. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you got going on lately? Josh Reason, why don't you go first?
Yeah, so I've been full-time in the industry recently, and obviously I've got DNWE going on, and just super busy trying to buy a bunch of names. I mean, typically buying, dozens of names every day at the moment, trying to find a way to get some more of the big names as well. And obviously, yeah, like I said, working really hard with DNWE.com with Josh Schoen, and yeah, no, it's been good. I've had a pretty good start to the year, so I can't complain.
Congrats. Yeah, I think it's cool that we have the two partners on DNWE together on here. That's cool.
That's the DNWE takeover.
Uh-oh, better watch out, Drew. All right, Joshua Schoen, introduce yourself.
Yeah, just an investor. Yeah, running, been busy running DNWE with Josh, and yeah, it's going well. That definitely spending a lot of time there and helping it grow, and yeah, we're looking forward to releasing some cool new updates soon. And yeah, me personally, just still hunting down the big names, and occasionally dabbling in some other TLDs and buying some smaller stuff, but yeah, staying busy.
Pretty cool. And who are you? Drew?
Oh, me? I'm nobody. I'm just
a guy.
Yeah, I'm just this guy. I like to listen. I'm a silent observer.
Well, we'll see about that. All right, let's kick it off then. Let's talk about a domain you've bought, sold, or brokered in the past few weeks. Josh Reason, you're up first.
Okay. Let's go with well, so I got an interesting one, because the last time I was on the show, I said that I bought beunstoppable.com, and I just sold it. So we should do that one.
That's cool.
I like it.
All right.
Did it sell to Unstoppable Domains?
No, it didn't. Nope. They probably should have bought it though.
Yeah, they probably should have.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Not allowed to ask questions. Yeah. Josh Schoen, do you already know the price?
I think
he knows.
Do, but
he knows.
I think I
Cheers.
do. I think I do.
We see how you guys operate over there.
Here's the thing. Before we go any further, there is a little bit of a dilemma here, because I think I know all of his buys and all of his sales, and I think he knows all of my buys and all of my sales.
That is true.
Well, we'll pretend tough for the benefit of the audience anyways.
So Drew, you
got I'll go first.
Exactly right.
All right, so beunstoppable.com, I'm going to say $5,888.
Okay.
Josh?
Yeah, I mean,
What would you have
back-
guessed? What would you guess if you didn't know?
if I didn't know, yeah, I mean, I love the domain. Yeah, I think it's an awesome call to action. I mean, if I didn't already know the price, I would think it's a 5-figure name all day. I would say probably 15K or so, maybe more. I think it's a really nice domain.
Yeah, so I sold it for 20K.
Wow.
Sold it for 20K. 6 payments. So I got the first payment, and there's 5 more payments over the next 5 months. But it's already equal payments. Yeah.
And where did that transaction happen?
It was from a landing page.
So you knew who the buyer was, you negotiated directly.
No, they hit the bin. They hit the buy it now. No negotiation. I just got the sale into my inbox, and it's already
landing pages.
I use various ones. I use Dan. I've been using Squad Help recently as well.
And
who've actually been really good. This one went through Squad Help. This one went through Squad Help. Yeah.
And it's a 6-month payment plan with equal payments. Is that like a predetermined?
I determined it. So I think they go up to 24 months on Squad Help. On Dan they go up to 5 years. But I don't have any above 6 months on Squad Help, and on Dan I don't have any above 12 months. With equal payments like that, I'm not going to go equal payments like one payment over 60 months. I just you get $200 on and then they default after 3 months or whatever. I mean, I can't be doing with that. But yeah, no, it's already forwarding to I don't know, some guy that's forwarding it to a hyphenated name. It's kind of funny, but I think it's a book. I paid like I said, I think I paid like $1,200 for it in a GoDaddy expired auction 2 or 3 months ago. So yeah, but I thought it was a 5-figure name. It's really difficult to get those kind of names right now. I tried to buy a bunch more, but the prices are pretty high. Like right now at auction, I think beawesome.com is at a GoDaddy expired auction, and like it's already a crazy price. And I think it's at like $4,000 already, or $3,500. And I prefer Be Unstoppable, to be honest. And it's just crazy how, like, for me, that signifies, how the market is accelerating over the last just 3 months. Because yeah, I was able to get for me, in my opinion, a much better deal 3 or 4 months ago, and now it's just getting out of control. So
what's Be Awesome at?
It's at $3,500 right now, and it's got 2 days left. So I mean, I guess it's probably going to reach 5K plus.
Be awesome. I don't know. Doesn't do anything for me.
Be Unstoppable.
Doesn't do anything for me either.
I have to say, like, and to the credit of both of you guys are like some of the few that actually have been like humbling me, as difficult a task as that may be. And the reason being that, I never would have priced Be Unstoppable at $20,000. $5,000, I thought that's about on the money, but I really, who was I chatting with? I think it was Sean Markey. And, we were talking about some other name that was, it was a great name, on GoDaddy. And he told me the name. He said, "Hey, I don't know if you saw this one or not." And I was like, "Oh man, great name. I'd buy that up to X." And he's like, "Yeah, it's already above X." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, yeah, it'll go for probably 2 or 3 times that. And I'm just like, when did I get out of touch with, like, that end of the market? I think I'm still, very much in touch with the higher end of the market. But these smaller names, these 4 and 5 figure names, man, I'll be the first to say, like, I'm out of touch. I don't know. I don't.
The market has changed so drastically over the last 12 months, though. It's like if you're not going through auctions all day, every day, even at the lower end, right? Like trying to pick up the kind of like the diamonds in the rough, then it's almost impossible to stay up to date with like how to price these. It's so you need to be so dynamic at the moment.
Well, and you're saying you're buying, 12 domains a day right now, and
Probably more.
Okay, and Drew,
Really?
how many domains a day are you buying?
I don't know. You know better than I do. 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But
I'm
trying to, I'm trying to scale 2 different business models, right? I'm trying to scale the business model of like low end names.
So am I. I got the biggest domain brokerage in the world, and then I'm, still my favorite part of the business is being a domain investor. So I'm trying to scale 2 businesses too. And it used to be feasible and easy. If I was starting out today, I don't think that I could do both. I don't think that I could possibly build the portfolio that we built, ignoring market circumstances, just looking at time and competition. I don't think that I could do both. I don't think I could have built the brokerage that we built and built the portfolio that we built. I don't think those 2 things would have been compatible anymore.
You could, but could you do them both as well as you've done them? Probably not.
No. And I mean, I work harder than anybody. Maybe Mike Mann works more hours just because he doesn't need sleep, but like, I work slow days, 13, 14 hours. And most days I'm working 14 to 16 hours. Some days, like last week when I'm playing catch up, I'm working 16, 18 hours. How do you work more than that? You know what I mean? And I'm working hard. Like I don't even stand up. So I don't know how I could do it. Because like I said, I'm buying 1 or 2 names a day. And that's more a function of not having the time to go through the auction list the way that I used to, and less about not finding names I want to buy. I think there's more names out there that I would want to buy than usual. Less at the high end. There's very few names, the really great names that I love to buy. There's very few of those coming to market. But still, that mid-tier of names that I want to buy in the, let's say, anything from $500 to $5,000 that I then want to sell for, $10,000 to $25,000, or maybe, probably $10,000 to $25,000. Those names, I'm just not buying them anymore. I don't have the time to go through the list.
One thing I'll say about that is that it seems that when I look back on the last 12 months, there's still a lot of opportunities to buy the higher end names that I didn't take because I was a little bit picky on, a couple of thousand here and there, 5,000, 10,000, whatever it might be. Like one that always comes to mind at the moment for me was the one that you bought, Drew, off Jack, Hypernova. That one still bothers me because he messaged me about that one as well, and I just didn't click, and it's like the biggest steal ever. So yeah, there's still opportunities that come up all the time.
Yeah.
And as you miss opportunities and lose sleep over those, you're resetting, and that's the educational piece too. Sometimes we buy crap that shouldn't have been bought, and other times we pass. And I think those 2 together, plus your wins and pricing variations, that's how you get where you are right now, sitting telling everyone else your expertise. So
yeah. I think in hindsight, it's probably better to have a little bit more crap in the portfolio, as long as you get the good stuff as well. Just because the margins are so high on the really good stuff that it's generally going to make up for 1 or 2 mistakes here and there. I think.
Oh no, it makes up for a lot more mistakes than that. I've got 9 mistakes for every home run. Exactly. But the home runs, make up for it by a long shot.
All right, tell us about a home run. What's a name you bought or sold lately?
Okay, so I just bought GNX
GNX.com. You
Yeah.
do love a 3-letter that ends in X too.
I sure do. I
All
sure
right. Josh's, what do you think he paid for it?
Man, that's a nice one. I mean, amazing letters ending in X. I mean, you can't get much better than that.
do. Bought it from an end user.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Never been on the market.
No hands.
Yeah, that can add a little premium. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna say you paid up for this one. I mean, considering all those factors, and yeah, I'm gonna say you paid. I'm gonna say you went $50K on it.
Okay. 50K.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mr. Reason?
So you bought it from.
You should have a
Bought it from-
blog called Unreasonable.
Be unreasonable.
That
Be
should
unreasonable.
That should
That'd
be
be awesome.
That should be the name of your blog. The Unreasonable by Josh Reason.
I like it. I'll consider it. So you bought it from NeoGrid, huh?
Yep.
Did you approach them?
No, you're not allowed to ask questions first. First, you
Well, no.
guess the price, then you go into the questions.
Just upset with the deal flow that this guy gets.
Listen, I sell more domains than anybody else on the planet Earth. Of course I'm going to have my finger on the pulse. Of course I'm going to see all these things.
I think you paid $45K for it.
Okay, so you both are pretty close together in your guess. And for the record, Be Unreasonable, someone has owned since 2006, and it's at CSC. It looks like a corporate domain. It doesn't resolve. Interesting. Well, I guess why would it resolve? That would be reasonable. Anyway, back to GNX. So, Drew, 46 to 50K? Yes? No? Are they in the range?
No. So usually everybody under guesses because I usually overpay, but overpay for the great names because I don't want to make the mistakes that Josh was just mentioning, which is coming back and regretting passing on. You got to understand that asymmetry in the domain market. Really, I've said this on DomainSherpa for as long as I've been coming on DomainSherpa. Overpay if you have to get the best names because it will pay back every single time, as long as you're qualified to judge what is a great domain. Getting a great name is far more important than the price you paid, within reason, because they're one-off. And so as long as you're paying, some degree of an investor price, somebody's going to be willing to pay more at some point, as long as you're willing to hold it. And it's a great name with, clear demand being judged by use in commerce and use in culture of the SLV, the part to the left of the dot. There will always be demand. It's just a matter of time. So anyways, but GNX.com, was not that case. And I got it for 25 grand. And I think that was a steal. That's probably my favorite 3letter.com I bought in a while at a good price. Like I've gotten some other great ones over the last 12, 18 months, 24 months, but not at a price where I thought, oof, that was a good buy.
Yeah, you paid liquidation price. Those are that's what names are getting liquidated for in that.
I think it would probably go for not a lot more, but probably a little bit more, just because it's ending in X, GN, and my guess is I literally just transferred to us today, so I don't know yet, but my guess is it has a ton of traffic because GMX is Germany's largest mail email company. It's like, the Hotmail or AOL of Germany. You also have like, GNC, and you've got, there's just a ton of end user monikers around GNX. So
it's also got a domain. It's also got a domain rating of 40 from like an SEO standpoint.
It's got love.
It's pretty good.
Solid name. I'm really happy with that name.
Yeah, that's a really nice deal.
Yeah.
Great names exchange. Great name exchange. It's
Global name exchange.
Global name exchange.
Hey.
I actually was doing a little due diligence on the name, and I think I can't tie this together, but there's like Sears Roebuck had a bunch of trademarks around GNX, and NeoGrid owned another domain called it was called like, I don't know, Global Network Exchange or something like Geo Network. I don't know. And I was just looking at what that was, and it was basically a global network of like the back end of retailers to be able to exchange supply among retailers. And it was patented, and it was all this stuff. So I don't know if it was part of Sears. I don't know, but at some point it was owned by Oracle. Back in the 90s. So, anyways, I like it. I like this name a lot.
Yeah,
and
that's a great one.
And how do you recommend someone else listening to this find a name like that?
So I didn't actually find this name, so I can't take credit for that. One of my domain chaser guys found it, brought it to me, and we took it from there.
Okay. And the pricing was easy to come up with?
I mean, he had already locked it at that price and was like, hey, you're getting the first shot here. You want it, dude. So there was literally no negotiation. There was no nothing. It was, this wasn't a typical deal. The whole thing was locked and loaded. It came to my desk and he said, it's yours for the taking if you want it. I took it, and that was it. Although actually that wasn't it. Actually, there's more to this story. There's several learnings actually involved here. This is a big US company, and they, for whatever reason, they wouldn't use escrow.com because none of the employees were willing to upload their personal information to complete the KYC test. We had a similar situation, which we overcame, but we had a similar situation with another big corporate client recently. But they just refused. This one was no matter what. So this deal has actually been happening over the last easily a month, maybe even 6 weeks, because we couldn't. I mean, we were going to do escrow.domains, we were doing escrow.com, then we were just going to use a lawyer, and ultimately these guys just weren't having it. They literally came down to, if you want this domain, send us the money, we'll transfer the domain to you. And at some point I just said, all right, I'm going to just roll the dice here. And I just wired the money. And to their credit, they transferred the domain instantly.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you got to think like a big company like that, they're not going to risk the reputation. I mean, it's probably going to be pretty safe. I mean, if they didn't transfer the name and they just kept the money, I mean, you would go crazy. You would out them. I mean, they don't want that. So
yeah,
Drew wouldn't go crazy. What are you saying?
I'm pretty passive in those situations. It's easy to say that, and I've run into this. This isn't my first rodeo, right? I've had this situation before, and unfortunately, I have had the situation where we wired the money, and people said, "Yeah, and I've never had the money stolen from me, but it was just still a pain in the butt to work it out." So yeah, it's not always that easy. I mean, even with a big company, even though they're not going to steal your money, it doesn't necessarily guarantee they're going to transfer the domain. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to transfer it in a timely fashion. It can be. I still prefer every single time to use an escrow agent, but it can be troublesome. But no, this one worked out. Thank you, NeoGrid. And yeah.
Congrats. Yeah, we want to hear what.
And actually, funny enough, what's super funny is as I'm doing due diligence on this name, I'm looking at, hey, what other domains do these guys own? And I'm looking back at historical records, and I saw some of the domains that they own, and we bought another domain that these guys owned, but that they let expire, and we bought it in I don't know where. I probably could look. I think it was a NameJet auction, but I bought wwre.com from them. I saw that in the portfolio, in the historical portfolio, and I thought, wait a minute, wwre.com, I recognize that domain. And then I looked back and I was like, oh yeah, I bought it. So yeah, it was pretty funny. We bought a domain from these folks in an expired domain auction a few years ago.
WWRE, huh? Worldwide Real Estate?
Worldwide Real Estate, baby. I mean, come on. I thought that was a heck of a name. Never had an inquiry on it, but I liked it.
What are you going to price GNX for?
$1 trillion. No, I don't know. Probably, let's say at a minimum 250 and up to 500.
Okay.
Seems fair. Yeah.
Drew, how have you been doing with three-letter.coms recently? I gotta say that I feel like the market from an end user standpoint is not as good as it used to be.
I mean, I don't know. I think we've been doing pretty good. I mean, I remember like 2 years ago, and again, I'm talking end user market, which is also what you qualified, right? We are not talking about the wholesale market, because the wholesale market is a disaster, right? Like the wholesale market's down
100%, 50%,
70% from 2015 levels. It's down at least 50% over the last 12 months. So again, that's at the wholesale level. But at the end user level, I think prices are higher than they've ever been. I remember like 2 years ago, again, end user market, we sold, I think we own, I don't know, somewhere between 80 and 100 three-letters. And we sold, I think, like 6 about 2 years ago for end user prices, all in the 6 figures. And, that was, for me, unprecedented. We have more three-letter.coms than we did then, and we're selling less, but still, I think we sold maybe 2 at end user prices this year. So when you ask me, like, how is the end user market? Like, yeah, I mean, maybe I sold 2 out of whatever it is, call it 100 for round numbers. So we sold 2%. But, the margin on these sales is huge. So most of these are happening at, a 10 to 20x. So, you sell 2 a year, it pays for the last 5 years of purchases.
Yeah. So the answer is, it probably is down a little bit, but it's not down enough for it to matter.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, everything, everything is a yin and a yang. I think it's very clear that the market, the end user market that is red hot is the one word market.
Yeah.
And, and if we look at the stock market, it's like, okay, well, what are the companies that are booming? The companies that are booming are consumer-facing SaaS businesses, or consumer-facing ad businesses. And although their profits are not, booming, but their stock price is. And so those are the businesses that want a oneword.com as a brand, and very generally speaking. And then it's the B2B companies and the investment cap companies, those are the ones that, big conglomerates, holding businesses, those are the ones that typically buy three-letter.com, in my experience. B2B companies, like, it's some B2B software business, or some holding business, or, something like whatever group, or, it's conglomerates generally, but typically B2B type of businesses, or financial. So,
financial, yeah.
Those are not necessarily the types of businesses I would be expecting to be splurging in this market, whereas consumer tech, consumer facing businesses, direct to consumer businesses are the types of businesses I expect, if not to be booming in this market, to be aggressively trying, right? And meaning that even if you're struggling because of COVID, you're still, if you want to have a go at being a successful business in this environment, you need to double down online, which means getting the best domain you can, doing the most aggressive marketing you can, et cetera, et cetera. So, I think it's all very explainable. I don't think there's a lot of randomness to why money is flowing into one words and maybe less to 3 letters.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think they're going out of style though. I mean, it's not like,
Nah.
you hold that
Listen,
forever.
baby.
I mean, yeah.
Scarcity is the name of the game. Everybody's got these freaking bullshit investment theses, and it's like, can they create more of it? Yes. Don't invest in it. Can they create more of it? No. Good. Check. First step. Check. 3letter.coms. Demand isn't going anywhere. It'll ebb and flow, but great 3letter.com is not going anywhere. So I love it. It's like gold, really. It's like I look at 3letter.coms like gold coins, or I guess, since they cost about the same as 10 gold coins today, maybe more like a bar of gold. But it's like, you just keep stacking those things. You don't sell them. You don't buy a bar of gold and then trade it when when the price goes up for 20%. You buy it and you put it away, and you hope you never have to take it out of the closet. And I kind of look at 3letter.coms that way. It's like I just stack them when the prices are low, and you get good opportunities to buy a name like a GNX. You just buy it and put it away, and you made money already. You know what I mean? Or even if you didn't make money, you stored wealth. That is a store of wealth. That 3letter.com is scarce, and they cannot make more of them. And the more businesses that develop on an alternative TLD that matches those 3 letters, the more valuable yours becomes. And you just hold indefinitely until somebody comes along and makes you sell. And that's kind of like that's the same way I look at Bitcoin, same way I look at gold. And that's the way I look at these liquid domains. I used to look at 2letter.coms like that, but then, the market came along and made me sell. So now we only have one left. But, 3letter.coms, when back in 2015, we did sell quite a few because even in the wholesale market, because, the wholesale price got up to like between 60 and 80 grand. And, it was like, all right, you want to give me, you want to give me 75 grand for that? All right, here you go. You want to buy 4 of these at 75 grand? All right. But yeah. Anyway, sorry for the long-winded.
Wait, that's why you're on here. Yeah. All right, your turn, JS. What'd you buy or sell lately?
Yeah, so I was just going through my list. I'm going to go with getaster.com. So GETASTER, like the flower. And it's kind of got a little bit of an interesting story. So I'm going to go with that one.
All right. Shane, the flower expert isn't here.
Yeah, so Aster's the keyword, and then get is the prefix.
And Aster is a flower.
Aster's flower, yeah.
Did you know that before this domain came up?
Oh yeah, for sure. I've heard of the flower before.
I've never heard of an Aster, and both of my parents are like florists. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Interesting.
Pretty
okay,
purple
Aster.
flower.
That's a good looking flower.
Yeah, I can't even open my browser because of this stupid program that's running. All right, I'll go. I'm going to say $4,999.
Wow, you're all about the fun pricing today, are you?
No, I just, yeah. I like exactitude.
All right.
Yeah, I would be pricing that one around like 2,995. It was registered the beginning of the year, so it's a hand reg, and
That it was.
2,995 makes would be about where I'd price it.
All right.
All right. So yeah, interesting story. So last year I acquired Aster.co, Aster.co, and yeah, really cool .co, I thought. And in January, I got an offer, got a inquiry on Aster.co, and I was actually talking to Josh and another guy, and saying, what should I price this at? I mean, I already had an idea, but we're talking about it, and I think Josh looked up getaster.com to see if it was available, because a lot of companies, if they can't get an exact match .co or .io or .com for that matter, they will stick a prefix on there, get, my, use, buy, try, any of those, but get is definitely probably maybe the most popular prefix. And so he saw that it was available, and he goes, hey, like, take this off the market, go reg it right now. And just so that maybe the people that you're talking to right now about Aster.co can.
Wait, who said this? The other Josh right here sitting next to you?
Yeah, exactly. A little piece of advice. And so he's like, yeah, go reg that one for $8.47 or whatever it is at GoDaddy, or $10, and yeah, take it off the market. So yeah.
What does Squad Help pay for those? Like when you suggest a name and then they register it and it sells. What do they pay as a referral fee?
That's good. That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't do any of that.
I pay Josh for my time with DMWE. So yeah, so that's what happened. So I registered it and took it off the hand reg market, just so maybe they couldn't then skip out on buying Aster.co and go get Aster. And so that was in January, and then it was last month that another interesting part of the story is Laszlo. So after I got the domain, after I registered getaster.com, I immediately put it on Dan. I put it on Dan, I think, for buy it now of $2,995. And funny enough, so that was the buy it now. And then Laszlo from Dan actually emailed me directly last month, I think beginning of June, and said that they had a buyer that wanted to buy getaster.com and was going to offer $2,200, and which is kind of weird because usually, so I had make offer on the lander. Usually if someone wants to make an offer on Dan, and they're just going to make an offer on the lander directly and it's going to come to me. But this is kind of weird that it came from, that I got an email from a Dan employee with an offer, like he's actually kind of being the middleman, being the broker. So the potential buyer offered $2,200 apparently. And I mean, I hand registered it for $8. So I just said, I emailed it back and I said, sure, let's do it. $2,200. I'll pay a 9% commission. I mean,
so
maybe
yeah, whatever. No, I'm not gonna shit on the parade. That's it.
Yeah.
It's hand reg. It's a beautiful sale.
Yeah.
But clearly,
I didn't really care. That's the thing. I didn't care who it was.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It didn't
Free
matter.
money.
I'll take my $2,000 profit after commission or whatever. I don't give a crap if it was Dan trying to buy it themselves. Who cares?
No. I'm not implying that at all. I don't believe that would be the case. But I think that probably the guy paid $29.95. Probably he just didn't know how to do the checkout. Probably the guy literally just emailed Dan and said, I want to buy this domain. How do I do it? Or whatever part of their system didn't work for him. And they were like, oh yeah, we'll do it. And then that was the price you probably paid the full price, you know, just with the commission baked up.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, and I mean, even if that did happen, you know,
no, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not implying that there's
but that is interesting.
It's totally legit, right? Like, they're adding value, and you know,
sure.
That's it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And when you know that that something is already, you know, there's a challenge with the system, or for some reason they're going outside the box, you know, you want to be as efficient with your time as possible, especially knowing, I mean, you're right, it's free money, but it's only $2,000. And so there's a point when you just move on to the next one. So it sounds like in terms of the amount of time that it took was really, really efficient for your overall process.
Yeah. I mean, it was really efficient. I mean, it was a one reply to Laszlo. I said, sure, I'll do it. And then he was like, okay, great, I'll set it up. And, you know, I don't know what happened on the back end, but that was great. Got my payment pretty quick, and, you know, hand ragged a 2K profit. I'll do that all day.
I'll say this. I think there's a pretty important takeaway that new investors probably would appreciate an understanding of, in that once you get past Aster.com and you go to whatever is next, whether that be Aster.co, Aster.io, Aster.net, GetAster.com, GoAster.com, suddenly is just an array of options that you can't control. You can't control all of them, right? For every single brand, you can't control all of them, which means that your buyer pool becomes diluted, because they have so many different options. Like, they can go anywhere.
What do you mean your buyer? No. I agree with what you're saying, but I think you're just saying it wrong.
Sorry,
the buyer pool doesn't become diluted.
It becomes
the value of any individual option in the pool of potential options becomes diluted in value.
Exactly. That's what I mean. And because of that, it's more of a gamble, right? That's why the lower end of the market doesn't really perform as well as the higher end of the market, because when you buy Aster.com, the person who buys that, there's no alternative. It's a must have. Yeah. Like, the .net or the .co is not an alternative. But when you buy .co, there are viable alternatives that they could easily go out and buy, and there's no negative impact to do so. Which is why I said, like, hey, GetAster.com is available. You might as well just register it, because if they approach you with the .co and, you know, you price it at $15K and they say, oh, I'll just register the, you know, .getaster.com for $5, which is like it's like one of these things. Like, what am I going to do? So, you know, the whole thing in general is like, you've got to be really in tune with like with the trends of what end users are doing, because if you're not in tune with the trends, you're never going to sell those names, because you just don't know what to.
Let me give an alternative take.
Go.
Just don't
mess around in that area.
I don't want to say that, because again, you know, you guys are humbling me, and you know, Josh registered this domain and sold it for $2,000. Like,
it's kind of lucky, though. I mean, if you look,
proof is in the pudding, but that's right. It's lucky, right? And for each one of those, like, how many other domains have you hand registered over the last, you know, 2 or 3 years? How many domains do you think you hand registered? A lot, right?
Yeah, I mean, well,
and then how many of those have sold? It's just in the ballpark. I mean, like, not trying to like shine a light on you. I mean, I'm happy to talk about my numbers. I just don't hand register many names anymore. Like, I think I've sold 2 that I've like that might even be legit. Like, I might have sold 2 domains that I've hand registered ever in my life.
Yeah, and that's why I say it's kind of lucky, because I mean, I don't hand reg that many names, and normally you would think that in order to get one sale of a getkeyword.com, you're going to have to reg, you know, maybe 100 to get maybe 1 sale, or to get maybe 2 sales. And I registered 1, and then I got the sale. So that's why I say, I mean, it was, you know, super lucky. You know, it's probably not going to happen again. I mean, if I registered 1 more with a good keyword, I mean, the odds of selling it are probably going to be pretty low, and maybe I'll just end up dropping it in the next year. So, yeah.
I think too, looking at what percent of your portfolio is hand registered is very small, and also what percent of your carrying costs are domains at that level is very small. And so to to domain investors who are listening, that's the key. Sure, occasionally you think of something great that you can hand register, but most of your budget, time, energy, education should be focused on even buy a $250 domain instead of 25 domains that are worthless. And then you only have one renewal carrying cost instead of 25.
And there's also a very logical reason for that advice, which is very simple. If you're buying a domain in an auction, number one, it means that somebody else bought it before you. So you're not the only one, right? Number two, there's generally, if you're buying it for $250, it means there's other people bidding against you, which means not only did somebody else previously want the domain, but there's other people who currently want the domain. And so, like, it's a gut check. It's just like, the reality is, if you walk out of your house in Manhattan and you say, all right, I'm going to walk to California now, and I'm going to try and find a piece of land that nobody's taking yet, right? Like, if you happen to find one, it's probably not worth much, right? Like, it's in the middle of the Utah desert, or, you know what I mean? Like, there's a reason nobody's found that yet. So I think that that's true 99.9% of the time. So I really, really, really just want to be careful about not suggesting that people hand register domains. There are people that make a business out of it and succeed, but I just
I think there's an important thing to note on that as well, in that most new people will ignore everything that we just said and just go out and hand register domains anyway, right? But those
are the stupid people that we can't help. So
but the reality of the situation is that people do make money hand registering names, but those people also make money not hand registering names, because they're not registering names because they can't afford to go out and pay for the bigger names. They just understand value better than the people that are brand new in the market.
Exactly.
And, it's about understanding value, and there is scenarios like this one where if you understand particular value, there's an opportunity to make money with hand reg. But you typically as a new investor, you don't know about that. So it's safer. It's actually safer for you to go and buy domains in auction where more people are actually bidding, because they're protecting you. They're protecting you from making a bad investment, because it's showcasing that there's value in this domain from other bidders, like you said.
They're protecting me because they're pricing me out of the market.
Yeah, exactly. They're protecting all of us.
Right.
Who is they, by the way? By the way, who is they? Because the people that are winning all these auctions, I want to get them on the show. Can we figure out who is winning all these auctions?
I'm winning a lot of auctions.
Tell me something. Actually, you guys are good to ask this. So, I have my circle, right? And if you asked me 3, 4, 5 years ago, who want to give an auction on NameJet or GoDaddy, maybe less on GoDaddy, but certainly on NameJet, even without looking at who the handle was, I could tell you, with like 30 to 70% certainty, that domain, I guaranteed Amar bought it, Braden bought it, Yanni bought it, or Erlin bought it, or, Birkins bought it, Frank bought it. There was 15 people who were winning 90% of the auctions. And then there was, depending on the type of name, if it was a liquid name, then maybe there was more, because you had the whole Chinese market and the Indian market, and another pool of buyers in the U.S. market who are really focused on that. But for a given keyword domain, I could have told you, like, with a high degree of certainty, one of those 15 people, or it might even be 10, bought that name. And today, I feel like whenever I speak to these people, we're all getting priced out of the market. So I'm really curious, like, who are the new players? Who's in the market today that's winning not the $500 and $2,000 auctions, But who's winning the big auctions? Who's winning the, the $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 auctions?
Yeah, that's a good point. So at GoDaddy expired auctions recently, there was the what's his name? Dave Lahody was winning all of those, literally every single expired auction for a while. I mean, until he got, and I think he got banned or something. But he
why did he get banned?
Didn't he not pay? Didn't he not pay for some of those? Or
something like that. I don't know. I don't know where I heard that, but yeah, I think that's or something happened. But he literally won every single auction that was on the high end every day for about a month.
He was paying like end user prices,
ridiculous prices.
It was crazy.
Yeah. But they're
who are the brothers that try to corner the silver market?
I don't know.
Oh,
there's a great story about the two brothers who they discovered that they discovered some inconsistency in the silver market. They said, okay, if we corner the market, we can control the price, and that didn't work out for them.
The Hunt?
Nelson Bunker Hunt. Yeah,
the Hunt brothers. That's right.
That was a while ago, huh?
Yeah.
I wasn't around at that time. Sorry.
Read your history, guys.
When
were you born in 1980 even?
Oh my gosh, I wasn't even. My parents hadn't even met.
In 1980. 1980, baby, greatest year.
I came about 11 years later.
Wow.
I'm the last. I just made the cutoff before turning into a worthless millennial. I know my audience, don't I?
Clearly, if you guys are humbling him, you've got your work cut out for you. Because
I will say this as well, Drew, just to answer your question. Think about all the education that is happening within the domain market over the last, couple of years, and particularly over the last, 6 months. I mean, I get people emailing me almost daily who listen to my podcast that I only started recently, who are, previously website investors or investors outside of the domain industry that have come across this from one way or another. And they're like, this really intrigues me. I want to get into the market. And a lot of these guys, they have money. So I would say that we're seeing a lot of new money come into the industry, particularly over the last 4 months. And I know it's been talked about multiple times across various different shows. But to answer your question, new people in the market are spending 10, 15K on auction names. They are.
I feel like Ray Dalio. I feel like a dinosaur in this industry. It's like, I feel like I know more than probably, 99% of the other people that I'm competing against. Just because I've done more transactions, I've had more experience, and I've been, doing it long enough. There's certainly a lot of people that have done it longer, but probably not with the intensity and the volume of transactions. And I can't make sense of many aspects of the market, and so that it makes me feel like a dinosaur. It's like, I read, not necessarily just Ray Dalio, but Howard Marks and Warren Buffett, and you read these guys' investor letters of recent since the pandemic, and if you are so inclined, you should read those, and many of them are publicly available, and you can and you read these things, and these guys, they don't understand what's going on. They can't make sense of it, and it doesn't fit into their formula, and so then it begs the question: who's wrong? Is the market wrong?
Yeah.
Right? The market's never wrong. So is the market? It's hard to. I don't even know how to say this.
Let me say this, Drew. Like in 2008, when the market, in general crashed, there was a huge influx of new people coming into domain names. And just like what Josh, you just described, of people with some money, people with some investment experience, but they don't necessarily get domains. And when you have this random influx of a whole bunch of people terrified of a pandemic and global economic crash impending, they're going to skew the market because there are a lot of them. I can tell you, I mean, I feel like I had hundreds of new clients during that time. And I think that's accurate. They didn't all stay, you know, don't continue domain investing. But when you have, I mean, it's like, isn't there some animal that, it's like a flock of birds that just got scared and they're all just,
but so, you know, that's exactly right. And that's how I came into the market, right? Like I came full time in 2008. And for all of those reasons, you know, it was like, I'm out here selling seafood commodities and I'm really good at it, but I'm making 7% selling container loads of frozen scallops, you know, around the world. Like, that's not sexy. And then I'm reading, you know, thanks to you, reading all these blogs about people selling domains for like, you know, 5X, 10X, 100X. And I'm like, what's going on here? I need a piece of this. And then I realized, you know, there was just very few people who could actually sell or were even trying. And I was like, all right, I'm going to come in here and create me some liquidity. And, you know, and I'm sure that there were people, you know, at that time that were looking at me the way that I'm looking at, you know, the new entrants into the market today. And so that's actually my point is this just a new cycle where I and others like me, the other dinosaurs, you know, where we need to revise our expectations, or is this a temporary thing? Is it, you know, is the market overinflated temporarily? I have my opinion, but I'm curious what you guys think.
It's completely naive for any of us to think that people are not going to notice when there's stuff like this out here where we're clearly talking about making 10, 15, 20, 100x on our investments. And there are extremely smart people out there that are working, you know, exactly right. Working very, very hard to make, you know, 10% margin, 15% margin, 20% margin. And, you know, eventually it's got to get out. It has to get out, and it's getting out. And, you know, I did a podcast recently with a guy who who does website investing. And he was so interested to talk about domains, and I got on the podcast, I talked to him, and
what was his name?
I can't remember. I'm trying to think of it right now, but he's an English guy. And he was like, dude, I think I'm not really going to focus on website investing anymore. I have to, you know, build out content. I have to do all of this stuff, and then I make less money than you guys, and my spread is smaller than you guys after all of that work. You guys just find value and wait for that value to, you know, exactly. It's just, you know, at some point, more people are going to understand. It's just that people haven't understood for the longest time, and now we've hit this this wall where people are like, okay, we need to be online 24/7 right now, and it makes sense that the word is starting to get out at this point.
Yeah, and I also think that, and I think maybe Braden talked about it actually on your podcast, Josh. I think you're having people that are now entering, you know, into domains. They're getting curious about it. They've heard about the amazing returns, and, you know, they're used to making, you know, under 10% per year on, you know, investing in, you know, traditional investments. And so, you know, coupled with not having the knowledge and experience to know what a good buy is, I think maybe they're paying a little more because of that. But then also, if they do have a little bit of a sense, I mean, they're probably willing to pay a little more to maybe just be fine with a 2 or 3x, because that, you know, is so much higher than what they're normally used to. So maybe
that's my
combo.
opinion. I agree with you. Yeah. I think that's what it is. They're just coming in. They're like, yeah, I'm super happy to make 100%, you know?
Right.
You know, and it's an interesting dynamic. You know, we'll see how it all plays out, but it's like, that mindset is what probably takes this market to the next level, right? Because once people say, all right, well, I'm willing to work for smaller margins, deals start happening faster, prices organically rise, you know, it just increases liquidity, which increases the size of the market, which increases values, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, I think that's right. I think that it's we're spoiled, and
We're spoiled.
People are coming to eat our lunch. I mean, they're already eating mine.
I want your lunch badly.
Hey, man. Hey, listen, it's there for the taking. It's there for the taking. I actually, to be honest with you, I wish there was somebody else who was better at brokering domains than I am, because I wish there was just like a super domain broker out there, so I could stop and they could sell my names and I could just focus on buying and selling domains. So that's the part I love. So yeah, please come and eat my lunch.
You got the contact. You want to give me your contact list? You can introduce me, and I'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, that'll probably happen.
I mean, listen. You want me? I will let you do all the investing. I'll do all the brokering. You just got to give me a contact list and introduce me as a new point of contact. No? Okay. No go.
I like it. Usually Drew's trying to broker a deal on these shows. Keep going, Josh. He might change his mind. All right. Let's take a minute for our advertisers, and then let's jump into the NameJet section.
FD was built by domain investors to increase your inquiries, sales, and profit. Forget spreadsheets and archived emails. Manage your entire investment portfolio in one place using a secure and completely confidential platform. Learn more at ft.com. That's EFTY, ft.com.
So we have some domains going to auction soon on NameJet.com. We have all .coms this time. Here's another flower one, blackiris.com. And a handful of others, some geos. Looks like an interesting list. So, Drew, are you up first? Would you like to be up first? All right, go.
Okay, so it's a nice little list. Not, it's a good little list. I think Hoboken.com is the most valuable domain on here because it's just such a big and valuable real estate market, and so well known. And there's also just a lot of associations with Hoboken, good and bad, and so that lends it to being a brand for something. So I like that name a lot. I don't know what the reserve is or if there is a reserve, but Hoboken.com is a great geo name, because for me, I know that most geos, I'm not a huge fan, to be honest. I think, like everybody, geos are sexy, and I want to buy geos whenever I see them, city names, countries, states, whatever it is. But the reality is that they're incredibly difficult to monetize, incredibly difficult to sell. There's very little liquidity. But I think that Hoboken is one of the exceptions, because the place where they really do well is real estate. And that's a very valuable real estate market. So I think Hoboken.com does have end users in the real estate market. I like Powerski.com. There's all these sort of powered water skis now and things like that. And Powerski seems like a great brand for that. Black Iris is kind of a nice name, a little edgy. Yeah, those are the ones I like most.
Okay.
I think.
Josh Schoen, what stands out to you?
I think Golden Jaguar is the only name that, I don't know, like I usually like color and then animal, but I don't know what you do with Golden Jaguar. Am I frozen on your screen?
Yes.
I don't know.
All right, Josh Schoen, jump in.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I think my personal favorite on the list is probably Black Iris. I just think that's a really cool brand. I love the keyword iris. I've tried to buy iris.com. I own iris.co. I love that one. I mean, it's an actual, rather than just being a random color and keyword, black iris is an actual flower, I believe, which I don't know if that actually makes a difference as far as value, but and then I own a similar name, blackheron.com, which is an actual bird. So I don't know. I think names like this just make really strong brands. There's a women's fashion clothing brand doing Google ads right now, called Black Iris. Yeah, I love that name. Some others that I like. I mean, you have a bunch of geos like Drew said. Richfield is apparently a city or town in Minnesota. Claremont is an interesting one because you have Claremont without the E after the R, like this one, and then you have Claremont with the E. I mean, that's cool, but there could be a little confusion there. I do like hyperleads. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, if you're in the lead gen space, which I've been dabbling in a little bit, I think that's a pretty cool name for your lead gen company. I like that one. I mean, My Little World, it's actually taken in quite a few TLDs. I don't know what you'd really use that for. Power Ski is cool. Outlanders is kind of neat. Like Drew said, Golden Jaguar, I don't know. I mean, just feels like a, I don't know. It's like would Gold Jaguar be better? I don't know. It just seems like a random color, random animal. Yeah. I mean, those are good brands. I mean, they're not. It's a cool name. It's nothing spectacular. There's definitely far better color animal names out there. So yeah, I don't know. Hoboken, like Drew said, is a nice one. Probably the best geo on the list by far. But yeah, my personal favorite, Black Iris. I really like that as a brand.
I think too, just like we talk about if you're putting two words together, how they should match or support each other, like black and iris, you get this image of sophistication and elegance.
And it's an actual thing.
Golden and Jaguar is a little confusing how they support each other or what they do.
Because it's not an actual thing, it's just kind of random. Black Iris is an actual flower,
Yeah.
So it has that going for it.
Yeah. So you could, Josh Reason, you couldn't get Hypernova, but you could get Hyperlead.
Yeah. So I have bids on every single one of these names. I just checked every single one of them I have bids on, but I have bids on most of the NameJet names that are like expired like this, that were picked from a list all the time. The only one that I won't make a play for is Golden Jaguar. I don't really. It's not taking in many TLDs. There's not really any end users out there.
You don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah. What? Jaguar?
Jaguar. Who says Jaguar?
Hold on. For a start, I'm English. Second, the biggest Jaguar brand out there is Jaguar, right? The car. I know how to pronounce it.
But nobody says Jaguar.
Well, apart from me.
The car, but
maybe
not
the English
for the animal.
Jaguar. Is that how you want me to say?
Jaguar. Yeah, Jaguar.
Jaguar.
All right.
Maybe that's how they. Maybe that's how the American folks say it.
Yeah, you're like adding 2 syllables.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Anyway, I don't really like that name. So for My Little World, I kind of see that as a little bit kind of like. So Andy Booth was talking about developing My Baby recently, right? MyBaby.com or something. I see that as being something similar. My Little World for like baby stuff. Hyper Leads, that's just a great name for any kind of company that does lead generation. It's a typical name that you like kind of price at like, I would probably price Hyper Leads at like $9,995, something like that. So all of these domains, even even Golden Jaguar. If I was able to get Golden Jaguar for less than $100, I'd take it.
Really?
Yeah, just
I
hang
think
on,
that's
price
a
it.
dead bet. I think that Golden Jaguar is one of those names, a false friend. You know, it's like, oh, color plus an animal, you know, sounds cool. Let's do it. I would bet the bottom dollar that's a worthless domain. I can't imagine a possible use case for Golden Jaguar because it just describes the first thing, at least for me, I mean, it just describes a car. It describes a Golden Jaguar car. Like, it's just, it doesn't, there's no way to spin that. I don't know. Gold Jaguar
It's interesting.
could be used, in my opinion, but Golden Jaguar,
It's interesting. So I just did a little research on Golden Jaguar.
And it's the name of the hottest new rapper.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. But no, apparently in a Marvel movie, there was some guy that it's called the Golden Jaguar Habit. And it was a protective suit that was worn by some guy until his death, I guess, in a Marvel movie. So I don't know, maybe
so what good is it?
It looks like some armor. Yeah.
Let me
Exactly.
explain why I would take it for under $100 if it was like the standard back order. Because I agree with you, Drew. It's not a good name. But for the people that are trying to build a portfolio, these are the type of names that sell for $2,000 to $4,000 all the time, and I can back that up with data, right? Like GoldenGalaxy.com, GoldenTribe.com, GoldenApex.com, GoldenGates.com, GoldenRainbow.com.
This is the difference between a good domainer and a great domainer. And I'm not trying to even put myself in either of those classes. I'm just trying to say that I truly believe that those small nuances are really what makes a difference. And none of those names that you just mentioned have anything to do with Golden Jaguar. Because
they don't have anything to do with anything.
That's exactly right. And Golden Jaguar does have something to do with something, which makes it a terrible brand. Because it describes a car. It describes a gold Jaguar. Which, by the way, was
I don't think it does. I don't think it does describe a car though, because
it's exactly the type of car that Josh should be driving.
but it's an you can't say that Jaguar is a car. It's an animal.
If Josh was driving around right now with that mustache and the hairdo in a Golden Jaguar and it was 1989, people would be like, "Oh, this dude is the man. This dude is holding it down."
All right. So I maintain that I would take it for less than $100, and I have to maintain that because I have a back order on it. So
right.
maybe
it's
just due to the comics, you know.
If you sell that, you
get
need to come on the show and
but I won't buy it, and because it's going to go too high. It'll sell for like between like $200 and $500, and I won't pay that. Yeah,
you really think it'll go that high?
Let me just see how many bidders there are on it.
If you have a Marvel fan, maybe some Marvel fans will be.
There are 14 bidders on it right now, including myself. It will go above $100. I won't win it.
Okay. Let's talk about Outlanders and Money Play. I'm surprised none of you mentioned them.
Outlanders, I'm just biased because some guy's been emailing the hell out of me on LinkedIn and by email. Like I got 12 freaking emails about Outlanders.com and some other name he's trying to push. And the whole thing was weird because I knew they were on NameJet, and I was like, "What are you doing, dude?" Like, and then I was like, "Yeah, what price?" And they came back with some stupid price. And I was like, "Dude, your price is, you're dreaming." Then he came back with a price that was like 90% lower. And he's like, it's like, "Well, what about these prices?" And I was like,
"Good negotiator."
So I'll say this about Outlanders. It was priced at $3,995, and he put it on auction and repriced it at $12,995. Obviously, that's he's doing that to try and, from like deception, however you want to do, whatever you want to call it, standpoint. So yeah, I don't like that name because I know that it's been on the market for $3,995 for a little while. and it's going to get higher. It's probably going to sell for way too much. And yeah, I know that there was no interest in a very, very, very buyable price point already. So I would skip past that one. But in general, do I like the name? It's like, yeah, I would much prefer a name like that if I didn't know the history. But that's another thing. Like, history of a name is super, super important. It's very, very telling. You know, how has it been shopped around? Has it been outbounded like crazy? Who's it been offered to already? Where has it been priced in the past? I mean, all of those things are important. How long has it been on the market? Which is why a lot of people prefer to buy expired domains than names from other investors, because you know nobody knows more about their domain name than the person who's holding the name at that time, right? So yeah, there are a lot of things to consider. But for that reason is why I kind of stay away from outlanders.com. Moneyplay.com is a good name, good brand. It's just like, I know that will go too high as well, just because of the two keywords. It's like people like to see two strong keywords, whether they go together well or not. In this case, they go together okay, but when you have a keyword like money and a keyword like play, that auction's going to over $500, and for me that's just too much right now for that kind of name. Okay. And I'll say this, that name was priced at 1,995. It has a 1,995 buy right now. So if you type moneyplay.com into GoDaddy, it is currently priced at $1,995.
Yeah. So it's like, where's your upside?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why it's priced that low. I would never price that domain that low. It's taken in .co, .org, .biz, .me, .net. I would never price that domain that low. But it is priced that low, and nobody's hitting the bin. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, good little list, and you're going to be a busy guy. You got bids on every single one of those. You're going to be awfully busy. I think we covered our third segment everywhere. This I think was a super informative and interesting show. You want to do any shout outs? What's going on in business, in your life, and whatever? Shall we? Reason, let's start with you.
Okay, yeah. So we've got a number of things going on at dnwe.com. A lot of automation in the works. We just started working with a new dev guy who is so much better than our previous the previous people that we were working with.
Oh yeah, big upgrade.
Massive upgrade. So we're starting to get stuff done now. And yeah, I'm pretty excited for some of the changes that we've got coming up over the next 2 to 3 2 to 3 months, I would say. And we're integrating with a new partner in a few different things. I don't want to reveal too much, but kind of stay tuned, because I think that we'll probably hit a little bit more of a hockey stick towards the end of this year as well. Kind of the foundation has been set, and the buyer pool that we have now is pretty large. So I'm excited about that, and that's going to continue to be my focus going through this year.
That's awesome. Congrats. Hey, how did you find, because you're better developer?
He's a domain investor, someone that I've been speaking with for a while, and he can't commit on a full-time basis, but what he can do on a part-time basis is so much better than anything that we could get from someone else. So I mean, having an understanding of the domain industry is like of paramount importance, actually.
Also helpful,
yeah.
Oh,
so yeah,
100%.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the old developers, I mean, they got us to where we are now, and I think we did get good value out of them for what we obviously had to pay them. But yeah, I mean, the new guy, he's a domainer. He he knows the platform. He understands and has ideas of how to make it better on his own. And we can tell him things, and he'll just be off to the races doing it. I mean, it's better. I mean, better communication. So honestly, we're coming out with some new stuff now, and we're also kind of redoing some of the stuff that we had already built, and just all around making it all better, improving it all. And yeah, the rest of the year is going to be great.
Super exciting. Is it going to be so great that you're going to bust out with your 80s hair and everything else, something amazing on the keyboard behind you?
Oh man, I don't know. I've been playing too much recently, but maybe I'll let the sides of my hair grow out. And I won't trim them down for a while, and then I'll do it.
Okay.
Then I'll have the real fro. Yeah.
I like
All
that.
right. I like it. I'll just
don't know.
drive around Phoenix till I hear it from outside.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it. Keep it on the top.
Yeah. I mean, this was actually a home haircut. it was done in the house, and I mean before. You should see before and after photo. It was crazy because I hadn't got a haircut for months, and the sides were just insane, and I mean it was crazy. So at least I trimmed it up. I mean, it's probably been about a month since I did some trim in the top. Definitely needs a little taken off.
I like it.
A little cleanup, but yeah, it's better than it was before. That's for sure.
I think it's especially hilarious with your personality.
Yes, it matches.
Yeah.
I love
There we go.
Yeah, keep it forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. All right.
Forever.
Drew, welcome back from a bit of a vacation, well deserved. What's happening at Media Options and in your world?
Well, I guess I will take this moment to share that Media Options is now a new company. Without going into too much detail.
GNX? GNX? Is that the new name?
Well, the new corporate name is DomainX, which we don't have the website up. Tess, that's actually your fault. You need to.
I need the DNS from Mariana.
She sent it to you.
Okay.
But that needs to get up. We need that up. We need that up yesterday. Anyways,
all right.
So the new company is the parent company is DomainX. That's not really a consumer, customer facing business though. That's more the holding company that will, own the various businesses and brands. As far as our customers are concerned, nothing changes. But we've completely unstructured and restructured the companies, plural. And I'm pretty excited. We've simplified things, and I'm pretty excited about the go ahead. And we've got some incredible domains for sale. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff in the works. We've got more stuff in the works than we've ever had in the history of this business. It's just about killing me, but I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm pretty excited about where we're headed, because I think, we're all riding a pretty big wave of, a digital wave. The whole world's going digital, and we are the benefactors in the domain industry. So, yeah, we've got, some incredible names for sale. If anybody's got a client or is looking themselves, we've got, WFH.com is about to be sold. We've got 2 bidders. We're both above the reserve, and so that name is going to sell imminently. So if anybody wants WFH.com, that is the name of the last 6 months. I mean, WFH, work from home.
And moving forward, too.
And moving forward. That is Google just announced that people are working from home for the next, at minimum 12 months, possibly longer. Twitter has basically announced that permanently most employees are going to be working remotely. So yeah, I think work from home is a new way of life and a new way of business. And WFH.com is about, it is the best domain possible for an entire planet of people about to go work from home. So,
yeah.
From
is that one you
hardware,
own, or yeah?
No,
is that one you own, or are you brokering?
No, we're brokering. We're brokering. And I personally, I think it's a steal. We've got, is.com or, is.com, which is an incredible 2-letter.com. We've got inbox.com, future.com. I mean, if there is anything.
Say future?
Yeah. I mean, that's my favorite domain that's available in the market, hands down, period, full stop. Future.com.
Didn't Ali Zandy's company broker that one back in the day?
No, Freedom. They sold Freedom.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's I mean, future.com. That's crazy. That's
Is that yours, Drew?
incredible
Future?
name.
No, brokered. We don't sell
Great
our
name.
names unless people make us. I'm a buyer,
What
not a
is
seller.
what is the best way to make you sell one of your names?
Make a good offer.
Make a great offer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or catch me right when Bitcoin is about to explode and I want more Bitcoin.
Okay, tell us really quick. What do you think about
Well,
Bitcoin?
it is.
Where's it
It is
going?
exploding.
You think it's going to
It
keep
is.
going up?
Yeah, I mean,
Or is it just being manipulated? I mean, what's the deal?
Everything I say is not to be taken as financial advice. Please do your own due diligence and do not make stupid investment decisions. I don't know. I think that we are at the start of a bull market. I don't think that this is the start of that. I don't think this is the earnest, pump. I think that we're going to see it go down before we see it, reach. Put it this way. I think we're going to go down at least 30% from here before we get above the all-time high. I'm not going to even venture to put timing on that, but I will say that it will happen in the next 6 months or less. Could happen in the next couple days or weeks, but I think that we're going down before we go up. Now, that's not to say that we're not going up further where we are. We might. We probably will. I mean, there's a pretty big parabolic move yesterday. But yeah, I think before we get above the 20 grand all-time high, I think we're going down first. So,
And I
mean,
get
people have got to take
Drew,
profits. I mean,
yeah,
people are
too much
take profit.
Exactly.
Drew, if you could only hold one thing, your domains or your Bitcoin, which one would you hold?
I'd hold my my domains. I hold my domains. It's such a tricky thing, right? Like the only reason I answered domains is because I have a tremendous competitive advantage in the market, right? And both in terms of, I guess if we're talking about domains, I already have. I have the opportunity to create liquidity where most people don't, and I have a better understanding of value than most people. So I'm willing to hold those domains because I see the downside significantly less, and I know that I can create liquidity if needed. And I have a large enough portfolio, in the business to, say, all right, well, shit hits the fan, we can liquidate 5 or 10% of the portfolio, generate, significant cash, and that'll carry us, through until a brighter day.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, liquidity is very important, and Bitcoin, in my mind, is the most liquid investment, basically there is today. It's tough. It's tough. But if you ask me in general, not about, not narrowing it to that, what is the asset class you would want to hold, for the next 100 years? It would be strong, really good agricultural farmland with a water source. That's the only asset class. Like I was talking about this, and the only reason I say that is because I just had this discussion on the weekend with a friend of mine, and we were talking about what's going to be valuable 100 years from now. Like what do you want to be, keeping in the family for the next 100 years, and that you are, as confident as anybody could be, will not only be, hold its value, but probably appreciate value. And the only asset on planet Earth today that I would feel that way about would be really strong, really good agricultural farmland with water.
Gotta have that water.
Gotta have that water.
As the guy in the desert.
Exactly.
Nice. Okay, this was really good. I do want to say for anyone listening about the crypto stuff, we're filming on Tuesday, July 28th, if that gives it context or makes it relevant. I think it's time to say goodbye. This was so fun, and you guys are super interesting as always. We'll see y'all next time.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. See you guys.